Hello, and welcome back to Traitors Expert. In this episode, we are looking at episode 3 of the Celebrity Traitors in our rewatch series. I know I said it in the previous ones, but this is such an amazing series, and even watching it back, there's so many hilarious moments in every episode. It's just brilliant. I mean, in this episode, the fart. We're going to have to talk about the fart. It's just something you barely ever even see on TV, someone farting. It's just hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And there's so much to talk about. We've got 2 banishments in this episode. Yeah. And it's weird watching it back. In my mind, I kind of felt like they'd always been disregarding the traitors. So, it can't be Jonathan, it can't be Alan, it's too obvious that it's Alan. But actually, they do throw a lot of suspicion towards them. I mean, Jonathan gets heat in this episode, Alan gets heat in this episode. So they do actually get more heat than I remember them getting. To be fair though, Cat Burns just flying under the radar. Barely anyone mentioning Cat Burns, at least in the edit. So yeah, there is more suspicion on them than I realised. And I'd completely forgotten how Claire Balding was actually saying directly it could be Alan because he's the most unlikely choice to have killed Paloma. So yeah, they did get more suspicion than I thought. Because there's a certain element where when you're watching it, you kind of go, how do they not know it's Alan Carr? But yeah, fair enough. They did actually suspect him a little bit. Claire Balding, at least. Go Claire. But yeah, we begin episode 3 with the banishment of Nico. I never know I think some people say Nico and some people say Nico. But I think it's probably Nico. But yeah, Nico is banished. Nico, it was left on a cliffhanger on the last one where Nico was tied with Kate at 3 votes. But then Nico just gets another 7 extra votes in the beginning of this episode. So Nico ends with 10 votes. Kate is in second place with 3 votes. Tom Daly has got 2 votes. Tamika has got 2 votes, interestingly. And Charlotte Church has got 1 vote. So Nico is banished. And he is taken off our... Oh, that's the Irish cast. Never mind that. Nico is taken off our leaderboard on our cast of celebrities even. So Nico's banished. Yeah, I kind of feel like the first couple of votes in this series are a little bit sus. Nico, he's probably one of the least... I won't even say least well known because actually to a certain audience he's very well known. But he's not kind of within that celebrity clique like the rest of them are. So he's not really appearing on Jonathan Ross's chat show. He's not going to the TV awards, the NTAs. He's kind of an outsider to the rest of the group, is what I'm trying to say. Even though he is very famous to other people, and worldwide he's probably more famous than a lot of these people. But within that group, he doesn't really fit that celebrity clique. I just can't help thinking that that's why he got voted off. They just kind of thought, he's an easy vote. He's not really one of us. We're proper celebrities and he's not one of us. And that made them naturally suspicious of him. Or maybe they're not even that suspicious. They just, think he's an easy vote to get rid of. I don't know. It's a bit suspicious. And then also the fact that then Tamika goes in this episode, spoiler, the fact that Tamika goes in this episode as well, she feels a little bit like an outsider to the rest of them. I don't know, it feels a little bit fishy. And like I said, the fact that Nico is the first person gone, it doesn't feel fair. And it would have been more interesting if he'd got more time on the show. And the kind of reason they're going for him, where they're kind of thinking, you're a YouTube prankster, you'd be the obvious choice. It's like, well, yeah, but you could kind of say that about anyone. You could say the comedians on the show, they'd be an obvious choice because they're able to deflect with humour. They've got a sick sense of humour or whatever. You could say the actors would be obvious choices. Mark Bernard would be an obvious choice for a traitor. Because you're acting, you're pretending to be someone else as a living, so you could pretend to be a faithful. You could use that argument against anyone. Just because he's a YouTube prankster doesn't mean that he's the obvious choice to be a traitor. I kind of get it, but yeah, I just feel like they just did an easy vote on this, and there was a bit of groupthink, which to be fair, like when we come to the second vote in this episode, there's not a lot of group think in that second one. There's a lot of votes for different people, whereas here they all did kind of gang up against Nico. And yeah, it just feels a bit fishy. So I feel bad for Nico, and I think he should have been on a bit longer. But yeah, immediately after Nico goes, Mark Bernard kind of carries on talking about this narrative where he believes Tamika has had like an energy change since the first like episode, and she's acting differently. And it starts this suspicion that Mark has against Tamika, which then obviously begins to build throughout this episode to, Mark's detriment. But we then have to talk about breakfast. There's just some amazing moments in this drama. Like Jonathan was saying about how he was upset about Nico going, and then Ruth Codd, who is absolutely hilarious in this show. Like I just find her so funny. Ruth Codd immediately calls him out on it. It says, "Well, it didn't stop you voting for him." And then she brings up the alliance, which Jonathan denies. This whole alliance thing, like we'll probably get into it again later, but like, it's all semantics. And I just think if Jonathan had just admitted, okay, yeah, I did say you've got an older ally in me, but it kind of admitted like, yeah, I might have said that, but I didn't say we're in alliance. All four of us are in alliance. It was kind of a turn of phrase, like, oh, you've got an ally in me. It's kind of like just saying like, oh, you got a friend in me, So I kind of understand his point, but like the fact that he so strongly says, no, I didn't say an alliance. It's like, well, you did. Maybe he just doesn't remember. Well, technically, okay, no. He didn't say an alliance, but he did say about the ally thing. He did say the word ally. You've got an ally in me. If he just admitted that, like, yeah, I said like, you've got an older ally in me, but I just meant more like you've got a friend in me, If he'd admitted that, he wouldn't have looked as suspicious, but flat out denying it and saying that, like, effectively accusing Ruth of lying just makes him look really, really dodgy. Yeah, especially because Claire Balding is also backing up Ruth Codd. So would you believe that these two people are independently lying, or would you believe Jonathan? Yeah, it's not the best play from Jonathan there. And even then, Ruth starts to think, well, Jonathan stabbed Nico in the back. Am I next in line? But yeah, breakfast then leads on to the discovery that Tom Daly is the first murder. And like I say, this is such a shame. I think Tom had a lot more to give in this series. I mean, he already had the hilarious like side-eye moment with Kate Garraway, and the moment where he's saying that, oh, who says flabbergasted? And Alan then replied and said, like, oh, you can't just call someone a traitor because they got a better vocabulary than you. Like, Tom had some really funny moments, and I think he could have done a lot more in this. And it's a shame that he's gone so early, and he's the first murder. But yeah, sad to see him go. But Tom leaves, which leads to another hilarious moment with Alan Carr's face reacting to Tom's murder, which obviously Alan knows is coming. And his face is just so funny. He's just all teeth. He's just he's just all teeth. Oh, it's so funny. I mean, it leads to another funny moment. There's so many just funny moments. Like Joe Wilkinson joking that he's killed Tom, and it's because he thinks he's not done enough for the country. Like, it's just, there's so many good bits. But yeah, as well, like just on funny moments, like Ruth Codd talking about Jonathan again at this point, and she says, "Don't piss in my ear and tell me it's raining." It's so funny. Yeah, interestingly though, at these moments, as they like now leave breakfast, so they're going to go towards the mission, Kate in the car does mention like, oh, maybe we need to be looking at the more like obvious people, like we need to, or the more like bigger characters basically. And she mentions, we might need to look at Stephen, we might need to look at Alan, even you, Jonathan. And it's interesting because Kate has kind of been given this impression online when people were watching the series that she was a bit thick, to put it, not to put it nicely, to put it offensively. Like people were kind of taking the mick out of Kate quite a lot and saying she wasn't very clever in this show. But I mean, here in this scene, in this episode, she mentions Alan and Jonathan in the same breath in the car. So maybe she's not quite as thick as we all made out she was. I'm sure. No, obviously she's obviously very intelligent. She's a journalist, but yeah, in certain moments in the series, she didn't come across great. Let's put it that way. And yeah, there's another moment around here where Joe Wilkinson and Ruth Codd both say, "Oh, Alan couldn't have killed Paloma." They don't believe Alan would have killed Paloma, and it's like, no, he could have done. Like, it's kind of interesting how much people do defend Alan. Like later in the round table when it's mentioned again and Alan gets a bit of heat on him, you can hear Lucy Beaumont is just jumping in and saying, "No, I don't think it's you, Alan. I don't think it's you, Alan." And it's like they just refuse to believe that he could be a traitor. Like, I think he's just that lovable and probably entertaining in the castle, brings a lot of like humour, that people just don't want to believe it. Like, no, it can't be Alan. It can't be Alan. And it's like, you can't be like that in this game. Like, it could be anyone. It could definitely be Alan. And he is the most obvious choice for Paloma. Like, he had the best opportunity to get her. But then this takes us to the moment where the masked figures come and surprise them, take them out the car. We get Ed Gamble's cameo here, where Ed Gamble is disguised as one of the masked figures, which is quite funny when, since the series has come out, Nick Mohammed has admitted, because he knows Ed, he immediately knew it was Ed under the costume, and he just kept quiet, which is quite funny. But yeah, so they're taken away. They're taken to Claudia's cabin in the middle of the woods. And we obviously get the moment, maybe of the series, the TV moment of the year, Celia's fart, where Claudia says, "Oh, this is the worst corporate away day you've ever gone to," and then Celia goes, and it's just, when that happened for the first time when I watched this, it just made me laugh so much, because like I say, it's something you don't see on TV, but we all experience this in real life. And Celia's reaction is just so funny. Like, she's so cheeky with it. And the fact that she says, like, "Oh, but I always fess up. And everyone else's reaction as well. Like, Mark Bernard is just laughing his head off. Like, everyone is just finding it so funny. It's just like, I want to say a heartwarming moment. It's just so funny. Like I say, it's not something you normally see on TV, so it's great to see it. And I think you can see why they kept it in, because they could have very easily chopped that out to save, like, Celia some embarrassment. But I think they know that Celia is so playful and she's unashamed, and that's why, like, it's okay to keep it in. And like, she just handles this so well. And Claudia's hilarious in this, where she's saying, "Oh no, same, me too," like making her feel better. Like, oh, it's the whole moment. It's just obviously TV gold. Apart from that, the mission was kind of boring, I must admit. I liked the whole idea of, like, the things that are happening outside of the cabin were creating consequences inside. So, like, they're pouring water into, like, things, tubes and stuff outside, and then that causes water to come down from, like, the ceiling. So, like, stuff like that was kind of fun, but the actual mission, maybe not the most entertaining. Although there was, like, again, like, Ruth Codd, she's so funny. Ruth Codd saying the worst part of the mission was standing next to Kate because Kate's screaming so much. It's so good. But yeah, everyone goes back from the mission, goes back to the house. We get another brilliant moment where Celia says, "Oh, I'm going to go snoop in on someone's conversation." And she then starts going around the castle. And she goes into the kitchen and she just flat out says to them, like, "Oh, I just thought it'd be a good idea to come and snoop in on some people's conversations." It's like, what are you doing? Why would you say that? And Alan immediately says that, like, the whole point of snooping is you don't say you're snooping. Yeah, very, very funny. But this led to, when people were watching the show at the time, people started thinking that Celia was actually, like, a secret role. So she might have been, like, an investigator role. So her job was to, like, go around and snoop on people and try and discover bits of information. Which, obviously, that didn't happen, but, like, that'd be quite an interesting twist if you did make someone a secret role like that. And I think Celia would have been very good for that. Like I said, I think Celia would have been an excellent traitor. And it is kind of a missed opportunity that she wasn't made a traitor. Maybe you could have swapped out Cat Burns for Celia. But yeah, it's all very good though. But we get some very fundamental moments at this point. So we get the beginning of the Joe-mance, which will take us throughout the series. So the two Joes sit down and have a bit of a, like, think together in the study. And this is where we also get the big dog theory, which, again, I love this. Joe Marler comes up with this theory that maybe Claudia would have sort of picked the two biggest personalities, Jonathan and Stephen. She would have picked one of them as a traitor and one of them as a faithful, and they would sort of then lead the teams in a little way. I just think, it's just such clever thinking. And the way he does it, the fact that he doesn't break the fourth wall, because what you could say is like, the producers would want Stephen as the leader of the faithful and Jonathan as the leader of the traitors. But he even plays it in the world of the game and says, no, Claudia would have chosen Stephen as the leader of the faithfuls and Jonathan as leader of the traitors. So even that, like, he keeps it in the world, but he's thinking about what the producers would do. And he's thinking, if you've got these two massive names, arguably, though, Stephen Fry's more famous than Jonathan Ross, I would say, but these two big personalities, at least, that it would make sense for you to make one of them a traitor, one of them a faithful, rather than having them both on the same team. And it's very clever, logical thinking. And it's the beginning of why I like Joe Marler so much on this series. Because that is clever, tactical thinking, theorising about the traitors. It's not just, you feel a bit different yesterday, or I just think it could be you, which a lot of people just sort of seem to go down the lines of, no, there's an actual like thought process of like, right, what would the producers do? But like I say, technically, if you said this is what the producers might have done, I think arguably that's breaking the rules, because I think Paul from Series 2 has mentioned this, that you can't really talk about things outside of the game, so like the meta production of the show. But like I say, the way Joe Marler phrases this as Claudia's chosen this just keeps it within the rules, and I think he does a good job of that. But yeah, we get the big dog theory, and Joe Wilkinson is fully behind him as well on the big dog theory. And like I say, these two together, it's like an unlikely partnership, you know. It's like a weird detective show where one of them doesn't match the other one, but it does work. And the fact they're both called Joe as well is like funny. And yet the Joe-mance, as people called it throughout this series, is one of my favourite things that happened in this series, because I think, like I said, it's just so unlikely, and it's kind of almost heartwarming as the series goes on and you have more moments of this, just how much they seem to like each other's company. It's brilliant. But that leads us on to the round table. So much happens in this, so much happens. We get, obviously, Joe Marler brings up the big dog theory, brings it to the table. The other Joe mentions how he thinks for like, who would be the strongest person to give it to Paloma, and he mentions Jonathan. So Joe Wilkinson mentions Jonathan. Joe Marler's mentioning Jonathan as part of the big dog theory. There's some other like clever little moments as well. Like Celia Emery, I think, has a really good point where she says, I've been looking at who's been talking to who, and I've also been looking at who's not talking to other people. Because if you're a traitor, you might not want to be seen talking to your fellow traitors. And that's such a good line of thinking. Like, there's so many like little clever things like that which people bring to the table in this. Stephen Fry brings some great things to the table. Not in this episode, but throughout the series he does. And like this line of thinking with Celia, like that's brilliant. Yeah, of course. The traitors don't want to be seen like having a private conversation with another traitor. Traitors Island. Anyway. Yeah, of course they don't. So looking at people who aren't talking, that's such a clever line of thinking. I think it's a really good idea she brings to it. Unfortunately, she then brings the idea that Kat Burns and Charlotte Church are talking to each other. So she's a bit wrong with that. But apart from that, it's great, like logical thinking. We then get, Claire Balding mentions the fact that the most obvious person to kill Paloma is Alan. Or sorry, the most unlikely person to kill Paloma is Alan. So therefore it could be Alan. But like I say, Lucy Beaumont immediately shuts it down. And like Alan's defence of this is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. He says, I just wouldn't do it. Oh yeah, that's a good defence. But we also get, of course, Ruth Codd brings up the alliance thing with Jonathan, and he just flat out denies it. Like I say, he just denies it too much. Like, Claire Balding's backing up what Ruth Codd's saying. Like, just say, I might have said something like that, but I didn't say a full alliance. But the fact that she says, no, I didn't say that at all. It's like, you're making yourself look dodgy now, because like, why are you lying about that? Because it seems quite obvious that he's lying. Because why would Ruth and Claire both make that up independently. But yeah, obviously all of those massive things happening, the big dog theory, the Jonathan and Alliance thing, Claire mentioning it could be Alan who killed Paloma, but then somehow, Tamika's voted out, and I don't know where that comes from, and I think probably a lot of it is Mark Bernard, and he should like take the blame for this, but yeah, I just don't understand where the Tamika things comes from. They sort of say, oh, there's been a change in like energy. What does that mean? That's not evidence. So unfortunately, Tamika is voted out with 4 votes. Stephen, Jonathan, and Celia are then next with 2 votes each. But this is what I mean. There's actually quite a lot of votes here. There's not a lot of groupthink, because Kate gets 1 vote, David gets 1 vote, Charlotte gets 1 vote, Kat gets 1 vote, Ruth gets 1 vote, and Alan gets 1 vote. But unfortunately, Tamika is gone. So when we look at our full cast, we have now lost Nico and Tamika from banishments, and we have lost Tom Daly and Paloma Faith from murders. So we've gone down from 19 celebrities at the start of the series, and we are now at... I just calculated this and I've already forgotten what it was. I believe... So if it's 4 down, then it's 15 left, isn't it? No, it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It is 15. Right, my bad. 15 celebrities are now left. So it's already getting whittled down a little bit, which obviously this is a shorter series. So, you know, we do start to lose people quite quickly, and the numbers go down quite fast. But yeah, we start to see maybe the beginning of the end of certain people here. So Ruth Codd mentions how she's put a massive target on her back. Well, we'll wait and see what happens with that. And yeah, I do feel really bad for Mark Bernard. Like, he feels so guilty that he kind of pushed the charge on getting rid of Tamika, and obviously she's revealed as a faithful. And he looks genuinely angry. Like, yeah. Watching it back, I don't know, it does seem a bit over the top how angry he is, because like I say, I watch this and I think of it as like a big board game, and he's just like completely like gone off the rails on it. But yeah, I do feel bad for him though, because he does clearly feel guilty. Yeah, there's an interesting little moment here of Alan and Kat where they get a moment alone in the kitchen together, and they say, you know, did you think about throwing Jonathan under the bus? And Alan was saying, oh, 1 more vote and I might have done it. Which he wouldn't have known whilst he's writing on the blackboard, so that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, like they show like a willingness to get rid of Jonathan if he starts to drag them down, which is interesting. And I started to think that might be what happens. But obviously, I'm trying to do these watch-alongs or rewatches as if you haven't seen the rest of them, so you could technically watch this without seeing the rest of the series, and I won't spoil anything, so I won't say what happens. But when I was watching this at the time, I remember thinking, oh, they're going to throw him under the bus, definitely. But we'll see what happens. We then got obviously up to the turret where they're going to discuss their next murder, and you know, they mention a few different people, but Jonathan is kind of pushing for the idea of murdering Ruth because Ruth was accusing him. And then Alan kind of says, like, yeah, she's not going to stop going at you, so maybe you need to get rid of her. But they do mention, like, this could backfire. And, like, I really feel like it could have backfired. Or maybe it will, you know. We don't know. Yeah, it's a very risky move to go for Ruth Codd. And obviously we'll see what the repercussions are if that turns out to be true in the next episode. But yeah, it's interesting strategies from these traitors. But yeah, that was episode 3 of the Celebrity Traitors. I can't believe it's only episode 3, but it feels like so much has happened already. Like, so many of the iconic moments have happened. We've already had Tom Daly's side eye. We've had Claire Balding messing up that challenge. We've had the big dog theories come up. The Joe-mancer started. It's just so much has already happened. And it's just, it's been such a joy rewatching it. And I hope you're enjoying these rewatches as well. So come back for next week and we'll be watching episode 4 of the Celebrity Traitors, rewatching it. It's just, what a great series. What a great series. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.